Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is the show all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success, and in the current climate, how to maximize safety while providing people with fresh food. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a farmer or food producer selling at farmers markets, this is the podcast for you. On today's episode of Tent Talk, we're talking with Stephanie Fenty, Manager of Operations and Strategic Engagement at the Farmers Market Coalition, about National Farmers Market Week 2020 and how markets can participate. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I've spent years as an on-site farmers market manager, and I'm the education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, where I'm still an active farmers market manager, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of the Farmers Market Pros community.
And I'm co-host Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer and info booth lady for San Diego Markets.
Welcome back to Tent Talk, everyone. So this has been a challenging and confusing year for farmers market participants, along with pretty much everyone else in the whole world. Some markets are open but modified, some have completely changed their mode of operations, and some are still on hiatus and maybe wondering what to do. Along with those of us in the market community, shoppers are understandably very confused. In the past, National Farmers Market Week has provided an opportunity to promote markets, and this year it's an opportunity to remind people that we're still alive and well and a safe place to shop.
That's right.
Stephanie Fenty of the Farmers Market Coalition is going to share some ideas about how to make the most of it. So welcome, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Stephanie, so you are the Manager of Operations and Strategic Engagement at Farmers Market Coalition. Can you just tell us a little bit about what that position entails and how you ended up in that role?
Sure. I started at the Farmers Market Coalition almost 4 years ago as an operations assistant. And with a small staff that we had, I ended up with my fingers in a lot of different projects, working in operations and membership, a little bit on our communications team, and a little in fundraising. And so over the years, the role basically developed into this one, Manager of Operations and Strategic Engagement. So currently, I oversee the planning for National Farmers Market Week, creating the toolkit for that, as well as generating our communication strategy and overseeing membership operations, both for farmers market operators, single memberships, and state partners.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. But FMC is actually growing really quickly right now. We've brought on a couple new staff members over the past few weeks. So you may, by the time this comes out, you may hear a little bit different on our staff page who's in what.
That's exciting.
We actually just brought on a new communications associate a few weeks ago who's been very helpful in getting National Farmers Market Week messaging together.
That's awesome. And right now, are you guys all working remotely? Where are you currently based?
I'm based in Miami. Farmers Market Coalition is very lucky as any of us have been, but we've always been a remote organization. So we were used to Zoom already, used to trying to schedule meetings across time zones. But of course, it's still been a challenge dealing with everything else going on, as it has been for everyone. But yes, we are remote and we will stay remote. Currently, we have staff from California all the way to Florida, which is where I am.
Long ways. What did you do before you did this job?
Before this, I worked at an organization called the Land Connection in Illinois. They provided training to beginning farmers. And I got into the farmers market world through that org. They actually started a new farmers market, the Champaign Farmers Market, while I was working there. And we were kind of fumbling around together, trying to figure out how to put it together. And I definitely used FMC resources while I was there. I was the assistant market manager and the office manager there. And after I moved to Miami, I got the role at FMC.
That's great. Yeah, having that market manager background, I think, is probably key to understanding all of the craziness. What do our matching tattoos say? Our job is weird.
Definitely.
Weird. So can you give us kind of like a brief history of National Farmers Market Week and kind of a little background on that?
Sure. So National Farmers Market Week is an annual celebration of farmers markets and the benefits that they provide to their communities, to farmers, and to small businesses that vend at the markets, as well as consumers. So this year is the 21st year. Every year, the USDA formally proclaims National Farmers Market Week as during the first full week of August. So this year, it's August 2nd through August 8th, and the USDA usually a few weeks before will come out with a formal proclamation, and we share that all over social media. And FMC takes a role in getting marketing materials and resources out to market operators so that they can participate in the campaign, and really helps to build capacity for individual markets so that they can participate around the messaging and have basically a cohesive communications campaign.
So the proclamation actually was really late last year and it hasn't come out yet this year, even though, the week starts August 2nd. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Farmers Market Coalition has actually kind of wrapped their arms around this enough that even if the secretary doesn't make it to the proclamation or puts it out at the end of the week, I feel like we'll still be okay because Farmers Market Coalition is still so strong on this.
Definitely. It certainly helps to have the USDA put it out in time and early, but at least as long as I've been at FMC, we've always had to do a little bit of nagging and pushing to remind them to put it out. We have been in contact with AMS though, and it's definitely on someone's desk somewhere. So it's in process, and hopefully they will get it out before the start of the week. But without it, you're right, we'll be perfectly fine. We just released our toolkit for market operators, and I think that's the biggest push for really kicking off the week for our members and our followers.
And is that toolkit just available for members, Stephanie, or can anybody access that?
It is available for everyone. We have a few member-only resources. We've actually made it even fewer this year just because it's such a hard year for markets that we wanted to make pretty much all of the resources available to everyone. But yes, it's just on our website under National Farmers Market Week. When you click the giant image, you can't miss it. It'll lead you to be able to download the toolkit.
And then, so tell us about the toolkit, what kind of things are in it and what can market managers and farmers and other farmers market vendors, how can they use that toolkit to promote their markets and utilize it to its, maximum benefit for the market?
Sure. The beginning of our toolkit is, I would say, the most important part, which is our main messaging points. And this year, of course, we are focused around the global pandemic and how farmers markets have been able to react to that. So we have 3 key messaging points. One, farmers markets are essential businesses, and making that message clear that we need to be supporting farmers markets so that they can remain open and remain feeding their communities and remain providing a service to farmers and vendors. Our second point is highlighting the role that farmers market operators and farmers market organizations play. And the idea behind that is a lot of people talk about markets as if they're just something that happened.
Pretty tense fall from the sky, as we like to say.
Exactly. They poof appear and poof go. But as we know, there's a lot of hard work that goes into making a market happen every week. And so we really wanted to highlight the individuals that make that happen. And then our third key messaging point is that farmers markets are safe. So really showcasing the hard work that market operators are doing to implement new procedures, new operations, to ensure that their customers are safe, to ensure their staff is safe, and really shining a light on all those changes that we see going on across markets throughout the country.
Do you have some really good markets that kind of really take advantage of National Farmers Market Week or have in the past? And like what kind of, I know when we do Farmers Market Week activities at our market, I know it's really been like kids come and get the worksheets, and we do a lot of like take a picture while you're here and those kind of things. And some things that I'm kind of, as a market operator, rethinking this year as like how we can use those kind of, I hate to say like event-based kind of activities, because what we're saying this year is like, yeah, that we are sometimes like part event, but really we're essential. And that's what we're focusing on this year is farmers markets being like grocery stores. So what kind of fun things can we do at the grocery store in the street? So are there some good examples that you know of, or ideas that you have for market managers to make it work during this, during 2020 when we're all dealing with kind of a lot of restrictions? Yeah,
definitely. It's not the same. Of course, this year, we really don't want to encourage a ton of in-person events or anything like that. And it's kind of new for us, so we're trying to figure out how this will work. But one option for markets can be to really lean into the social media aspect, really lean into the online aspect, which the toolkit is perfect for. We have sample social media posts, we have graphics that are downloadable. We have key talking points and data points that markets can share. I think that will be the most helpful for market operators. As for individual markets who really have done a great job at National Farmers Market Week, that's hard. There's been a lot. I know the Dallas Farmers Market always has a really great social media presence, and we honestly are always really enthusiastic to see just the variety of markets that are participating, especially when we were doing our Instagram contest, Love My Market Instagram contest, which is a campaign for folks to put our I Heart Farmers Market tattoos on and take a picture, post on Instagram, and just showcase their love for their farmers market. Of course, we're not going to do that this year. We don't really want to encourage people to be standing around, putting on stickers, putting on tattoos, taking selfies. Not really the vibe this year. But, it's still something that we can give out and maybe do at home, because we do want to still push that message of love my market, but it's just going to be a little different this year. We're thinking about using that messaging to point towards more how customers can show their love for their markets this year, because they need it, especially like plenty of markets aren't even able to open, and so they really need the support this year.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I think that messaging can be kind of tailored to like, this is the time to show your market a little extra love. So do it during National Farmers Market Week. I know one year we did like a show us your market haul. Like we did give out the tattoos there, but some people didn't end up like having them once they realized that contest was going on, but they would take pictures in their home with all their like fruits and veggies and stuff that they brought home, or like show us your recipe. So it's stuff that people can do from home, which is kind of what I'm thinking about this year, promoting on our end, like use the really fantastic graphics that you guys always provide, because they always have educational key points. And so our shoppers get educated about why it's important to shop at the farmer's market, why they're doing a great thing by shopping at the farmer's market. And then when they get home, they can really kind of do the social media and tagging and things like that. So we're not really asking them to hang out and party at the market this year.
Exactly. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. But I love all the stuff you guys always provide, because we have tons of shoppers that are like, oh, I didn't realize that when you shop at the farmer's market, this percentage comes back into the community, and all those great little, like really easy to understand graphics that you guys have that we can put out just always get a lot of, attention on our social media. So it's handy. Very handy.
Thank you. Yeah, we're always trying to update those and get new data points. And that's been a focus of FMC's for a while, is to just increase data collection at farmers markets. And part of that is to turn it around and use it for marketing and for messaging, so people really understand the importance that markets have for their communities.
Well, and you do a good job, too, of collecting data and then using that in lobbying efforts and policy, trying to influence policy and be sure that the folks out in Washington, D.C. and other places are paying attention to the importance of farmers markets. I know Farmers Market Coalition has done a lot of work in terms of stimulus packages to make sure that some of that money is available as markets and farmers are struggling to get through this year.
Definitely. And part of our toolkit also is an advocacy component, advocacy resources that we have for markets, because it does still have to come from the ground up, and we want to see individual markets advocating on the local level and on the state level as well for the same reasons. So normally during National Farmers Market Week, we ask markets to just begin that process by inviting their elected officials out to the market. We offer an invitation template, so you just fill in the blank with your market name, with your representative's name, and invite them to come out and visit. And this year, we're pushing more of another component, which is getting local and regional proclamations of National Farmers Market Week. So the USDA does the national proclamation, but a lot of markets will reach out to their legislator and send them this proclamation template. And then we see Texas Farmers Market Week and New Mexico Farmers Market Week being proclaimed too. So that's something we really want to see, and because that really helps to push that narrative of how essential markets are, right? So then it's clear that we're celebrating these markets because they're essential, right? We're having this week because they're essential, and that necessarily means when an emergency like this happens, we need to be thinking about farmers markets and how we can make sure that they can stay open.
Yeah, getting people fresh food. Our local food systems have been under so much pressure through this whole situation, and I think farmers markets really have kept them alive, keep farmers farming and making sure that we have access to fresh food, because a lot of the supply chains are kind of messed up in other segments.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think as operators, even if I'm thinking about markets that haven't opened, like haven't been able to get open because of everything that's going on, I think it would still be a good idea to kind of use Farmers Market Week as saying, hey, like we're an important business and we have there's all these restrictions in place, or we don't have the funding to get open this year because of all the extra staffing needed, or things like, or all the pressure on our local growers and makers. So we still want to celebrate farmers markets and what they mean to this community, and it could really bring more awareness to the fact that businesses like that are suffering, like farmers markets are suffering, even if you're open, and kind of use that to bring that community awareness, and maybe even do like a little fundraising for your market in the meantime, or if you are open, get those kind of market memberships started, and then really celebrate it in your own community and say, look, they're being celebrated nationally, like these are important pieces of community, and this is why. So I think it's nice. Yeah.
And I think it's a great opportunity for food makers too, especially in San Diego and lots of parts of the country where like indoor shopping has just been shut down again. Yeah. Maybe food makers that had wholesale accounts with restaurants, that's not happening. So this is a great time to educate your followers online or people that want your product and tell them, hey, I'm at the farmer's market. And when you purchase from me at the farmer's market, I keep most of those profits, where if you're buying from, a big retailer like Amazon or even a local shop, the food maker isn't making as much money as if they're purchasing it directly from the market. So not just farmers market operators, but also food makers and farmers can use these resources to promote all the awesome things that the farmers market provides.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And even farmers, I think, if they have found themselves in a situation where they had to do a bunch of CSAs or pop-ups and things that we've heard from farmers across the country that were really difficult to do when their markets weren't operating, this is a great time for them to celebrate farmers markets and say, look, this is a great place. It's a great place to get to know me as your grower or food makers directly. And it brings people all together, even though we're trying to be together but apart right now. It's still like a safe place to get food, and you know where it's coming from, and you can shop safely. So yeah, it's just all sorts of messaging can be used, I think, and having all those resources is just really priceless.
Yeah, I don't remember where I heard it, but there was a market that had some signage or messaging about being physically distant, but not socially distant, because you're still talking. It's still a place where you're coming together as a community and you're supporting your community. Even if we have 6 feet apart, it's so much more fulfilling to go to the farmer's market than, like you said, to shop from Amazon or wherever else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd seen a lot of markets that were doing kind of a drive-through or a pre-order and pickup sort of model, and we're hearing a lot now. I think everybody's sort of got you power through to make sure you can get through that crisis time. And then as it becomes more routine, and we're in sort of a routine crisis at this point, it's starting to sink in, and we're hearing a lot of people that are tired. They're missing that personal relationship face-to-face that is the reason they got into farmers market work to begin with. And so we're hearing a lot of that sort of crisis fatigue, and I think it'll be nice to have National Farmers Market Week as a kind of a period to say, hey, we're still doing important work, and we're still together on this, even if we're 6 feet apart, and we still need to keep thinking of ways to keep those face-to-face markets going and maintain those relationships between the growers and the consumers, and the food makers and the consumers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and also as each state and each county and each city has all their own their different regulations and rules and responses to those, it'll be nice to have something that we can all collectively get behind and be like, even if you're in Florida and there's different rules than there are here in California or vice versa, that we all have National Farmers Market Week.
Yeah.
We can all celebrate something together.
Yeah.
What else are you working on, Stephanie? Once you get through Farmers Market Week, what's next on the agenda for farmers markets? We're sort of wrapping up our podcast this time of life with that. Dust off your crystal ball and get opinions from people on what do you think is going to be next.
Yeah, I think, well, personally, after Farmers Market Week, I think I will sleep for a week, but yeah.
Well deserved. You go ahead.
Our main focus right now is Farmers Market Week, and after that, we're going to really FMC is really going to be looking internally and help and getting all our new staff onboarded and really figuring out how we're going to be structured. That sounds pretty boring, but we're working on a pretty big project, which is the GUSNIP Nutrition Incentive Program project. We're providing training and technical assistance to GUSNIP grantees. So that has been a really big component for FMC. As for your second half of your question about the future ball for markets, I'm not a psychic, so I'm not sure if I have a really good vision of that, but we're definitely seeing how markets are using this very strange time in an emergency situation to find out some valuable tools to put in their toolkit. So it's funny to say toolkit after National Farmers Market. But,
not that toolkit, this toolkit. Your everyday toolkit.
But markets are seeing new customers now that they're adding online purchasing options rather than just the customers who aren't able to come in person. They're seeing new customers. So I could potentially see markets doing more, adding that as an option, even as we go back to life as normal. But yeah, I think that one thing that really becomes clear to me as a result of this pandemic is just people really seeing that what we've been saying, local food systems are resilient, and local food systems are really what are going to be there when everything else is getting shaken up. It's that same message. Farmers markets are essential because they are the community. They're representative of the community, so they're always going to be there. I think just having that message more prevalent to the general public and hopefully to legislators as well is going to see a lot of positive impacts for markets in the long run.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how this will affect new legislation that comes out too, just seeing that farmers markets were able to stay open and, governors and cities and deemed our businesses essential. And so what once was kind of thought by a lot of people as just kind of like a fun festival to get food, and they didn't really think about the nuts and bolts of farmers markets, it has really become clear to a lot of people. So I'm kind of excited that was, if we can talk about silver linings of everything that's going on, I think that's an important part, is that when it comes down to it, we were here for people to get their essential food in a time where that was really uncertain.
Yeah, and I think certain public officials realized right away that they were essential.
Yeah.
But since we had to do so much education with officials on various levels, I feel like they may have come away from this with a better understanding of what a farmer's market really is, as opposed to the quick glance that it's tents and festival-like, that they're really understanding the impact of it on the agricultural system and thus on the whole economy and the food chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many benefits. We're just preaching to our own choir here, I think. We're all just nodding our heads like, yes, of course,
yeah, of
we
course.
are. Duh.
Good job, us.
Yeah, good job.
Right. Good job, us.
Keep
That's
it
right.
up. Yeah. All right.
And good job, Farmers Market Coalition.
Yeah.
I've been a member of Farmers Market Coalition for a really long time, and I would like to suggest that any of our listeners who operate farmers markets should be members of Farmers Market Coalition. And there have always been some really good core benefits, but I feel like just in the last couple of years, it's kind of like the organization has really bloomed and really gotten more proactive. They've always been great on the policy side and on food justice and working with EBT programs and that kind of thing, but I feel like they're really much more proactive now about things like this, like toolkits for National Farmers Market Week, and actually toolkits for the rest of the year too, some marketing advantages and things that you get by being part of that group.
Well, thank you for thanking us, but also thank you as a member, because truly a lot of the resources that we collect and gather and a lot of the information that we put back out is what we've collected from the market community. We really are at our core a network. When COVID hit, we were just hearing from markets around the country all these different ideas for how they could pivot their operations, how they could implement new safety protocols, where they could get funding to buy the PPE that they needed now. And really, FMC's role is just to be that central hub and then share that information back out to the community. So the more markets that we have as part of our network, the better that information can be for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, bigger reach. Yeah, I love it. Awesome.
Join FMC. This is not a paid promotional statement. This is just my honest feeling. Join FMC.
We just love them.
We just love them.
We do love them.
And definitely follow them, like on social media. You guys have been posting a lot of great articles and writing things and interviews that have been really valuable to us as market operators to share with our Farmers Market Pros community and also with our shoppers. So any farmers market farmer, vendor, or operator can find some really good tools to share with their community from you guys. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, good outreach to shoppers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. It was really great to talk to you, and we're really excited for Farmers Market Week this year. We'll be posting some stuff in our Farmers Market Pros community, and definitely encourage everyone to use that toolkit, and I'm excited to use it for our market. So yeah. Thanks for all your hard work, and I hope you get that long nap afterwards.
Thank you for having me. And guys, everyone, download the toolkit. And if you have great ideas for what you are planning for National Farmers Market Week, we do have a little form on our website where you can submit and share some of your market's ideas. And we'll maybe post them on social media or collect them in a document somewhere to share with other market managers.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that I tag you guys in some stuff that's like kind of good for all markets, but I love watching all the posts that you guys do from other markets so I can see what they're up to, because, it's a nice time to collectively. So,
that's right.
So just for our listeners, the website is farmersmarketcoalition.org, right?
Correct.
Make sure everyone knows where to find you. All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Stephanie, and we'll talk to you about other stuff, I'm sure, at some other point. So it was really nice to see you, and talk to everyone soon.
All right, thank you.
To hear what's happening in various parts of the country or share what's happening in your area, we have terrific conversations and people sharing resources over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. Feel free to come over, answer the 3 qualifying questions, and join that group. You can also message us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros or email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. Thanks so much for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you access your podcasts, and tell us how you're enjoying Tent Talk. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss our next episode. This podcast is produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thanks so much for listening.